Hello and welcome to Spirit Touch. We just talked about touching. So now let's talk about his hands because they're the ones that do that touching. The question is, where do you want to put your hands? Do you want them in the hands of Satan or do you want them in the hands of the man from Galilee? The answer is important. Why? Because as my friend Jenny Udaly sings, little is much when you place it in the Master's hands. Let's put our hands in his hands and let him have control of the reins because that's how we take care. That's how we move forward. That's how we go onward and upward. When we're bound together with him, the impossible dream becomes possible. It's how we go from just ordinary people to extraordinary people, like she did when she accepted Jesus and put her hands in his. Then she began doing 1 Thessalonians 5:18. In the good times, praise his name. In the bad times, doing the same. In everything, she gives the King of Kings all her thanks, and so should we. There's something else she knows and sings about. She knows there's strength in the name of the Lord. There's power in the name of the Lord. There's hope in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Where does that strength, power, and hope come from? It's found in those nail-scarred hands. That's the power to heal all our brokenness. They give us the strength to carry on when we feel it's those hands that picked us when we fall. It's those hands that pick us up. Dust us off, then raise us up to more than we could ever be. It's those hands that comfort us. Those are the hands of our provider, Genesis 22:14. When it comes to hand-to-hand combat with Satan, it's those hands that defend us. It's those hands that protect us from his fiery darts. It's those hands that wipe away our tears. It's his right hand that guides and directs us down his narrow path. It's his hands that lift us up in prayer before his Father's throne of grace. Mark 8, verse 19. It's those hands that touched 5 fish and 2 loaves of bread and thus fed 5,000 people. Then, with his words of truth, he fed their hungry souls. It's those hands that take all the dark, ugly, painful, evil things out of our hearts, minds, and souls, then plants his good seed inside of us. It's those hands that hold the shears that prune away our sinful dead branches. It's his hands that turn on the faucet that sends down those showers of blessings. And yes, they send those mercy drops too. Oh yes, lest we forget, it was those hands that washed the feet of the one he knew would betray him a few hours later. Just before the betrayal, when Peter's cut off the ear of Malchus, it was the hand of Jesus that touched the ear and restored it. Matthew 26:51 and Luke 22:49 through 51. They are the hands that drove the money changers out of his Father's house of worship. Matthew 21:12. Since he is the potter and we are the clay, it's his hands that mold us into the vessels he knows we can be. Isaiah 64:8. Then he puts us into the kiln of his fiery trials to strengthen us. Take a good look at what the end of Daniel 5:23 says. It tells us God holds our lives and all of our ways in his hands. You see, they are the hands of heaven's love. Google the song, Lay Your Healing Hands on Me, and have a listen. Those loving hands that touch us are calloused from those years of he apprenticed in Joseph's carpenter shop before his earthly ministry began. Yes, they also pulled lost sheep out of the ditch, then pulled out the burrs. He does the same for us, then rubs lanolin on the sores. It's his hands that wrote our names in the Lamb's Book of Life, Revelation 20:12 and Revelation 5:5. It's his hands that broke the seven seals and broke open that scroll. It is his mighty strong hands his crucifiers drove the nails into on that cross so that we could be redeemed. Yes, they will put his crown of salvation on our heads. They touched the fevered brow of Peter's mother-in-law and made her well. Mark 1:30 and 31. Sounds a lot like many of the same things a mother's or a grandmother's hands do. So let's ask that question at the start of this lesson in a slightly different way. Whose hands do you want touching your life? Satan's or the hands of Jesus? The choice is yours. The answer should be easy. Jesus, my life is in your calloused, beautiful, nail-scarred hands. Thank you for touching my life with yours. He gave us two hands so that we could fold them together in prayer, worship, praise, and thanksgiving to him. He also wants us to use ours in the work of his kingdom. How? By reaching out and touching and giving to others around us. He blesses the work of our hands when we do. You see, when we do, it helps him make this world a better place. Those hands knit us together in our mother's wombs. They soothe away our pain. So the next time you need a soothing touch, reach for his hands and let them touch you. In his right hand alone, there's more power than we will ever need. When we are in his hands, we are free and we are safe. You may send your prayer request to heanswerstwo@gmail.com, and we'll ask him to take you into those beautiful hands of his.